Hi, welcome to Selfseeds Through the Eyes of the Horse. And one of our really important seeds, of course, is fitness. So the good news is that almost any time that we become active or the horse becomes active, we are working on degrees of fitness. So now Maree and I have been walking on these horses for the course of 6 or 7 different rides over a couple of weeks. They live in an area they can move around in, which is good. And so they can maintain some of their own fitness walking up and down a hill that the paddock is in. And then also how we go out and we ride is an active form of fitness. Now, is it as active and as strenuous as needed for them to be out as endurance horses? No, not yet. But this is an inner mechanism and order we're working on: obedience, how they react to the circle of the aids, and how the circle of the aids transfers to their highest level of body mechanics in order to move efficiently and effectively. So all of this is a great opportunity to develop the rudimentary ways of how to move, and then the next step is to start adding in trotting, more severe climbs, longer rides. There's a lot of science involved with developing quality endurance horses. And I know when I was in my teens and I was riding in NATRC, and I was doing a lot of competing nationally, that every step I took on the horse was considered. It wasn't about making decisions randomly. There was a relationship that we were sharing, and I always felt a responsibility to each and every step the horse took, how the horse received the information. Now, as you can see, Tequila was like, wait a minute, water is running. Now, we haven't walked here, so this is kind of fun because you get to see how the horses accept a new training opportunity. So there was a lot of rain this year. And so right now, there's a natural spring, and the horses are having to walk between dry areas and wet areas. And, it's not that I mind the horses have a question about something. I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, believe me, there are times that I've ridden over the years where I'm glad I abdicated my thinking process to the horse, because their feet are the ones on the ground, and they're the ones that are getting to sense what's going on there. And I respect that and want to work with that in a very positive way. So Tequila had some uncertainty, and Red examined her uncertainty, and there we go. So now we're back to the stream crossing that we did earlier in the ride. So it's great to cross it in the other direction. And you could see how I'm working with my triangle for Red to move from my seat and my leg on the left and the right side of his body through the point of his pole and the contact in the bit, that he stays aligned and moving through there. So as I open the rein and I direct him, I'm changing the tension in his jaw, and I'm centering him always through that tip of that triangle. And now here we have Tequila coming through. And again, she made a little bit of a different decision, but all is good. And away we go. So now we're headed back to the stable. And what's really nice is, as you take in this video, they aren't really changing their rhythm. So we have no sense of urgency that they have to get back to the stable and they're anxious to get back to the stable. I mean, many of us know and have been on horses that start jigging and going sideways, and they get fast and they want to trot and on and on. So again, this is really lovely that whether that we're going out, there was enthusiasm, and when and how we go back to the stable, there's calmness. So for me, that's ideal, that it doesn't matter whether I'm coming or going, that the horse is willing in equal amounts on both sides. And it's a principle I know when I was, again, competing. The first horse I rode, Maree, oh my gosh, she was jigging out and back. So to start from that, she was an amazing horse, and I thank her so much for my early years in NETRC. But that was work to get her. She was a thoroughbred quarter horse cross and had been a barrel horse. She had a lot of gumption, but it wasn't always used in a calm way. She was willing. So I'm appreciating the steadiness of Red and Tequila as we go out and we come back. I think it's a very, very important quality for a horse to have enthusiasm for being ridden. It isn't that, I love Maree's words, they're not sports equipment. Horses are never sports equipment in my opinion, and I know in Maree's opinion. So it's a consideration for the horse's emotion, for it to be willing to take on being ridden and to be able to be thoughtful in that. So I feel like every ride, I'm nurturing that rudimentary place. To me, it's a privilege to ride horses. It isn't a right, it's a privilege. And horses have served humanity for an incredibly long time, whether it's military or working in the fields or transportation. Horses have been an amazing partner in our development of civilization. So maybe if I was born earlier, I would still want a horse to be enthusiastic and willing to pull a carriage into town, or the challenges of being a military horse, or maybe the horse is part of the Pony Express, and so many different parts that horses have been a part of our history. So now horses take on a role of really being something that's not required for our survival, but something that is maybe considered sacred and special for what's possible in the pure joy of riding with horses. And so it's one thing that's wonderful, wonderful, is to be able to go out into nature with a horse, to be safe, and for the horse to be confident. It takes time. Training a horse, oh my gosh, it's years. It's unbelievable. It's about the journey and the process that's being shared. It's not about any quick fix or, in a way, subjugation of the horse. To me, it's the nurturing of the details, that the horse enjoys the work and the ride as much as the rider. And to me, the integrity to the mind and the feel of the horse to have a healthy biomechanics is what lends the horse to being a great partner. Saddle fit, fitness and balance of the rider, all of these things are critical. comfort of a horse in a trailer being transported, how the conditions the horse lives in between the riding events that support. So if you looked at this video of us coming home, it looks really almost identical to the first video of this series of us leaving home. You wouldn't almost know which part of the ride that we were on. The horses aren't sweaty, anxious, they're willing and stepping in a rhythm and in a great weight distribution.